Handcuffed suspect managed to free himself from the back of a Colorado police cruiser and steal the vehicle, leading officers on a high speed chase that only ended when he fatally crashed into a parked semi. The video showed police stopping Anthony Sanchez III after an initial chase by ramming the back of his car. That spun him around and allowed police to surround his vehicle. He was being chased after nearly hitting other cars on the road. When police stopped him, they found a weapon in the vehicle. Officers put Sanchez into the back of a cruiser with his hands cuffed. He wiggled free in the back seat, getting his hands out to the front of his body, threw still cuffed, and sped off in a stolen cruiser. That led to a second chase, which ended when Sanchez violently crashed into a parked truck after hitting police spikes. He later passed from his injuries. Colorado troopers have stated that around 11 a.m. on June 20th, troopers were called to assist Ontario County Sheriff's deputies who were in pursuit of a suspect on Highway 50 in Ontario County. The vehicle was reportedly called in as a shots fired call, and the suspect was reported to have had caused multiple crashes and attempted to cause head on crashes with other vehicles on the road. Troopers initially stopped the suspect's vehicle by hitting the back of the car driven by Sanchez. Officers took Sanchez into custody and found a weapon in the vehicle. Videos released this week show police stopping Sanchez's car and surrounding it. He quickly put his arms up, was surrounded after cops spun his vehicle around. Sanchez was cuffed with his hands behind his back when he was led to the back of that state police cruiser. Video footage from the back of the cop car showed the suspect squirming over his handcuffed hands so that they were no longer behind his back. He then managed to get himself to the front of the seat of the vehicle and sped down the highway as officers realized what took place. Colonel Matthew Packard, chief of the Colorado State Patrol, stated on Wednesday the suspect's maneuver, quote, "We didn't see that very often, but it's not the first time. It's based on the suspect's flexibility and physical ability to do that. But again, it's not the first time we've seen that happen." Packard stated that the suspect was in the car for only about 90 seconds before he managed to slide into the front seat and drive away. The body camera footage, a state trooper can be heard stating that the suspect must have crawled through the center window and added his rifle was still in the vehicle when the suspect fled. Police, who were standing near the arrest site, then turned to run after the car to no avail. That led to a second chase where speeds reached more than 100 miles per hour. The dramatic pursuit went on for more than 21 minutes and covered 37 miles. Eventually, troopers deployed stop sticks at the end of the chase. Video shows the stop sticks, portable spikes that go across the road to puncture the tires in slow fleeting cars. Sanchez's car was hit by the spikes and veered into the side of a semi truck parked along the road. Police arrived at the scene and sprinted to his mangled vehicle. They worked to free Sanchez from the wreckage and noted he was alive at the time. The front end of the car was badly smashed and debris was strewn across the road. There was also smoke coming from the vehicle. Sanchez was later taken to the hospital where he later passed from his injuries. The driver of the truck was not injured. Packard stated that the investigation into the incident remains ongoing. Quote, "The process we're looking at now is what actions did our members take, and if those actions were in accordance with training and policy, and if they were, do we need to update the training policy? Do we need to look at equipment to change things?" Packard also added that state police will look specifically at the cruiser's theft device to determine whether it was used, defeated, or potentially malfunctioned. He also stated that the use of stop sticks deployed will also be investigated. The main thing that people used to say is that crime doesn't pay. And that is clearly what we see at this moment in time with Sanchez III ended up leaving one car and putting himself directly into a metal casket. Now, some people might just so happen to say that the force or the things that the police did, right? Along with Sanchez's actions, led to why it is that he is no longer here. I will simply add that things happen because they happen. Sanchez decided that he wanted to speed, he wanted to act reckless, whatever he was doing on the road, he decided that he wanted to do it that day. Because of his actions, he ended up getting arrested. Once he got arrested, that realistically should have been the end of the whole situation. Everything was said and done. He probably would have got a slap on the wrist or served a little bit of time in jail, had his license revoked or suspended, and he would have been completely fine and dandy. Everybody would have been completely fine and dandy, and Sanchez's family would have been able to see him again for the up and coming holidays and next year. But Sanchez decided that, nah, I ain't trying to really go to jail. I don't really want to be in the back of this cop car. I don't really believe that I should be back here from the get go. So Sanchez decided that he was going to put the cuffs around his body and then proceed to squeeze his body directly through the hole in the cop car so that he can make his way to the front seat. When he got to the front seat, he decided to shift in the turbo and push the car as far and as hard as it would go, inevitably forcing the cop's hand in order to put down stop sticks, inevitably leading to the fact that Sanchez lost control of the car at that high speed and rate, which led him to crashing directly into a parked semi on the side of the road. Now, a lot of times we sat up there and stated that, hey, the police that, hey, the police this. Realistically, the police did everything that they were supposed to do. They tried. Sanchez opted not to go with the first decision. As Felice Johnson stated to people, we can either do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. Sanchez III decided that he wanted to do this the hard way, and he paid the price for wanting to do it the hard way. So hopefully at no point in time will they decide that they need to fire any of the cops or that they need to put anybody into resignation or anybody on paid vacation. Because realistically, in this instance, the police did everything that they were supposed to do. Sanchez was the one who opted not to follow lawful, abiding orders. He opted not to listen to the police, to be arrested, and to stay in the back of the car so that he can get processed directly at the station and then later, more than likely, released. He opted to risk his life for whatever reason that he wanted to risk his life. So, again, all I'm stating is that the police were actually in the right on this one. And they did everything possible to not only try to prevent the loss of life, they also did more than enough to try to prevent anybody else from being harmed further by Sanchez's actions.